Sheila Jackson Lee is a bit of a moron, okay? Her name kind of, I guess, rose to prominence when she authored that HR 127, which tries to, I don't know, make owning a firearm as hard as humanly possible, to be completely fair. But to be fair, she is not only trying to take your guns, she's also trying to take your first class flight seats because Democratic Representative Sheila Jackson Lee stole a first class seat on United Flight from paying customer, and it's not the first time. And I just found this to be rather funny, but yeah, she's done it multiple times, but that's not the reason why we bring her up. It's because of this headline here. Texans, remember, she is a Democratic House member from the great state of Texas, who go maskless face destiny of death. Okay, that's a little bit weird to condemn your fellow Texans to a lifetime of suffering, I guess. I don't know. Because outside of just the crazy motherfuckers over at the likes of CNN and potentially yourself and whoever else wants to benefit off the backs of the fear merchanting, really seem to think it's a fairly popular thing to do, and hell, it takes effect today, so congratulations. Hope everybody out in Texas is enjoying the freedom they once enjoyed a year ago, but now get to re-experience it. But there's no use crying over spilt milk like Chris Klizza, CNN editor-at-large, Greg Abbott's head-scratching anti-science decision to end the Texas mask mandate. I mean, would you really take any sort of guidance from a man who you know probably has several pictures of him opened mouth pointing at his wife's boyfriend's Nintendo Switch? Like, being the editor-at-large for CNN, like, the mop man at the jerk joint has a more prestigious job at this point. Nobody gives a shit about CNN. It's a fucking rag. It is a shadow of its former self, and you are the one ushering it forward like a seeing eye dog through a minefield. Godspeed and do improve your opinion pieces, you moron. But anyways, yeah, back to Sheila Jackson Lee and her destiny of death, which is quite a brain-dead observation, because we're going to go ahead and ruin her day. Yeah, dumbass from Texas on Wednesday declared Texans who do not wear a mask during coronavirus pandemic face a destiny of death. Remember, it'll be a pandemic forever because fear merchants get to profit off of this, and, well, they also get their rocks off, and Cliz will be there to clean it up on telling people how to live their life. Do not have a remove mask party tonight, because you'll be walking into a destiny of death. Yeah, that's right. I'd rather take the advice of somebody like Greg Abbott, who's actually in Texas all the time, not some swamp creature who surrounds herself with fellow same-minded people in Washington, D.C., thousands of miles away. I think I'll be all right. Said during a speech, yes, on the House of Representatives floor. Jackson Lee's warning coincides with Texas lifting its mandatory mask restrictions across the state. Governor Greg Abbott announced around a week ago, yeah, it was about a week that we posted that video there, said he would be lifting the order, saying Texans have mastered the daily habits to avoid getting the China virus. Make no mistake, the CCP virus has not suddenly disappeared. The COOF still exists in Texas, in the United States, and across the globe, but it is clear the recoveries, the vaccinations, which we will get into, the reduced hospitalizations and safe practices that Texans are using, that state mandates are no longer needed, nor were they ever needed, Governor, but the fact that you're rescinding them, I will not hold that against you right now, because there are still many states out there that still think it's a great idea. I call them retards. And I'm not too sure here, but I imagine it was probably the case that the schools in Texas were probably closed, at least for a little while. I don't know if they went through a second wave of closures, but if we got one anti-science person here, we might as well bring in another one, where I think we're all pretty much in unison and agreeing that kids can get sick from this, but them being hardest hit or even remotely hit by it is super low. The numbers just don't bear it out. And then you got teachers. And we talked about, at least briefly, the Chicago Teachers Union just wanting to perpetually stay at home. California's teachers unions have also joined in similarly because they're equally as redundant and it combines two things that I hate quite a bit: unions and teachers. Grade school teachers, they're fairly useless, incompetent individuals that are indoctrinated by the ideals of Marxism because you take on thousands and thousands in debt, and then you take a job that you only work 9 months out of the year, and then you think that you're underpaid so much. Pick up a side hustle in the summertime, you fucking twat. You get paid throughout the entire year. I don't know what the fuck else to tell you. But yeah, before we get into the interesting numbers, how about this? COVID isn't a threat to American kids. Selfish teachers, their unions, and their Democrat allies are. It's time to realize we are not in this together. Yes, we've heard that from Hollywood videos, Super Bowl ads, politicians, and commercials, but unfortunately, it just isn't so. President Joe Biden made a rare public appearance on a CNN town hall, yes, in February, and some doltish teacher, Justin Below, asked, why is it okay to make him and his colleagues go back to the classroom and do their jobs? Because we're following the science on this one. How about that? Don't worry, the president soothed. Classes will be small and the government will make sure you're all protected from COVID-19. Because they've been so successful in doing that, kind of like how the death rates ever since Biden hopped into office have automatically just went right through the fucking roof. But you can explain that away because Orange Man bad, right? Boo. Teachers and the folks who work in the school, the cafeteria workers and others, Biden explained, should be on the list of preferred to get the vaccination. Yeah, sure, whatever. But some little scrawny mid-30s cuck probably isn't necessarily at high risk, and nor do I want him around any of my children. Now, let's be fair. Who would be high risk? Okay, there's the obvious, there's the elderly, right? I would say people who are on the front lines in grocery stores, if you would be so inclined to do that. Pharmacists, obviously, for similar reasons. The Federalists, Chris Bedford here also has a pretty comprehensive list. Bartender, hotel maid, desk clerk, bus, subway driver, gas station attendant, grocery store employee, waiter or manager, deliveryman, farmer or rancher, don't necessarily agree with that one. Factory worker, carpenter, butcher, trucker, no. Well, if they're like delivery men as well, but obviously. Pilots, yes, and stewards and stewardesses. A priest, well, just like teachers, because they mostly interact with small children, I don't necessarily think they're at high risk. Police officers, yes. First responders, cab drivers, electricians, store clerks, baristas, mechanics, plumbers, you get it. Blue collar people who see multiple people a day should have the most access to the vaccinations, okay? And they can stop wearing their stupid face diapers and they can move on with their life. Because we got some CDC numbers that came out on March 8th, just after I was done recording and doing my pre-records for yesterday. This came out. This is directly from the CDC website, so if I go mysteriously dark for a couple of days, it's because this video. But it's right here. It's from the authoritative sources, so I don't know how they're going to refute this one. This is the key points. This is a study, directly. You can see it right here. It's linked in the description below. Feel free to read it yourself. So for the purpose of this guidance, people are considered fully vaccinated from COVID-19 at or longer than 2 weeks after they have received the second dose of the 2 doses, or same period of time after they received a single dose of the Johnson & Johnson one that's just been approved. That was actually about a week ago, or maybe it was over the weekend, one of the two. And here's what fully vaccinated people can do, incentivizing you to just take the shot in the arm, bigot. Visit with other fully vaccinated people indoors without wearing masks if you're fully vaccinated, or physically distancing. Visit with unvaccinated people from a single household who are at low risk or severe COVID-19 disease indoor without wearing masks or physical distancing. Refrain from quarantine and testing following a known exposure if asymptomatic. There you go. There you go. That's straight off the CDC website. Okay? You can actually return to normal life. But to give you the additional byline as well, they're still saying for now, citing, I don't know, reasons, still feel free to wear your mask at all times because it's a sign of submission and no longer a sign of scientific stature, because they're telling you if you're fully vaccinated, you can go out without wearing a mask. But then at the same time, I just wear a mask because reasons. So, I don't know, if you're in Texas here today, don't be letting mammy rain on your parade. Return to normal. Open up your business. Go out to a restaurant, see some people you haven't seen in a while. Return to normal. and stop listening to these dumbass politicians who couldn't be bothered with actually seeing anybody they're supposed to represent. And if they do decide to grace you with your presence, or with their presence, just know that their flight to come and grace you was originally purchased by somebody else and canceled for their benefit. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.